Okay, so in this problem here, it's quite involved here. And so we have, given this particular, here's our differential equation. We're told that this is a solution. There's going to be two values of alpha. So if we take x and we then go and take the derivative, alpha comes down. We take the second derivative, we get alpha squared. And then we take this value, plug it in for the derivative, the second derivative. This we plug it in for the first derivative. This is our x value. We get 0, we simplify it, factor out the e to at, and we end up with alpha being 4n2. And we want to then show that x is equal to a to the e to the power 4 plus b e to the power 2. Find the constants a and b. Well, if I actually take this x value and I do the derivative, I end up with this. And if I take the second derivative, I end up with that. Plugging it into the original equation, you end up simplifying, everything goes away, and you end up with 0 at the end. And so therefore we know that this particular equation is a solution to the second order differential equation. Now you want to do it in a second method, alternative method, where they're going to let dy dt, or y equal dx dt. And so we get these coupled differential equations. Doing our eigenvector and eigenvalues, we find our eigenvalues, corresponding eigenvectors. And this, we know from our syllabus, is the general solution to these coupled differential equations. Okay, and so at this point, we're kind of done and paused for a moment. Then it says, now consider this harder differential equation, almost the same, except now we have minus 8t. And this algebra gets messy. We start off with our x. We take the first derivative, and we get a, because it's a function of t. And the b goes away, and we're only left with the a. This is a constant, and take the second derivative, that ends up being 0. When we take the first derivative, the second derivative of an x, and plug it into this equation here, we end up with this blurb here. And then we distribute the 8, we collect like terms, and now I factor out a negative a, and I factored out a 1 here, that's just written as 1. In order to factor this further, and this is quite an advanced factoring technique, I want this to be the same as that, because then I can pull it out as a factor. I can pull this out as a factor, and I have a 1 and a negative a left. In order to pull that out as a factor, I'm going to make 8b equal to 6. Because b is a variable, I can let it really, can be many different things. And if b is 6, that will mean, if 8b is 6, that means b is equal to 3 over 4. All right, but if I factor this, then I can factor out the 6 minus 8t in both here. And they can each be 0, so a is 0. This particular function makes t be 3/4. And from here, I know that b is also 3/4. This is quite challenging to come up with. Once we have that, if we take these two general solutions, we combine them. If we take, here is our first solution, because I know if I take my b value, and if I take my a value, which is here, and I plug it into, I was told is x is equal to at plus b. Well, my b plugs in, my a plugs in, and so I'm left with t plus 3/4. And this is from b. I am going to add them together because that's what was happening to the general solutions, and this is my equation when I add them together. When t equals 0, I'm told when t equals 0 that x is 2 3/4 is equal to, I plug 0 in for all these, and I plug 0, 0, and 0. And so I get this equation, so that means a plus b is 2. I know that the derivative is 7. So if I take the derivative of this particular scenario here, if I take this derivative of this, I end up with this, with a plus 1. I missed that the first time. Plug it in the 0, I'm told it equals 7. And so when the t is 0, these go away, of course, and it's a plus b equals 1. Subtract it over, it gives me 6. I simplify it. So now I have a plus b is 2. I have 2a plus b is 3. Solving for them both, I get a is 1 and b is 1. And so if I take these values and I plug it into this initial equation here, what I came up with, it turns out that I get, here is my solution. And if I want to plug it in for 1, I plug 1 in for all my t values, and it ends up being 63.7. And then finally, the last bit is applying Euler's method. Here's our equations we're going to have. And these will be my starting values, which I already know from part F. I am going to use a spreadsheet because I'm actually going to go to 100 if I have read this correctly. If this is my step to get to the value of 1, and it says on the answer key that I'll get 59.5. Quite involved, heavily algebraic. That step D is quite challenging.